Welcome to Breaking Barriers, where we delve into the realms of health and performance. I'm your host, Neil Bester, and in each episode, we embark on a journey of conversation with diverse individuals in the health and performance space. From experts pushing the boundaries of science to everyday athletes sharing their inspiring stories. Join me as we explore the keys to unlocking your full potential. Okay, perfect. Okay, guys. Welcome to the third episode of my podcast. Finally came up with a name, so I'm going to be launching it Sunday, the 4th. Today I'm joined by Tommo. Tommo, skin deep in the game. He's been around forever. He's literally worked with Innovate. He's been in the early stages of Rebel Equipment, helped founding that and just building that brand to what is in pretty much every single gym. An athlete himself, hybrid athlete from skiing to CrossFit to cycling. I see him on the runs on Sunday mornings, which is pretty cool. So I've really looked forward to getting Tommo onto the podcast, especially in the first few. Hopefully there's more to come just because the world of knowledge that he holds. So we'll get stuck into it. Tommo, welcome, bro.
Thanks, Neil. That was a big introduction. So I'm Tommo. I've been part of Rebel Elite Fitness for 10 years this week, which is pretty exciting. I come from originally a rowing background.
Yes.
I coached rowing for a living for 15 odd years, and then had to swivel and change careers when I got married and bought a house and realized coaching doesn't necessarily pay the bills. So I started at the bottom at Rebel Elite Fitness. I was a service technician servicing Concept 2 product, running events and selling some Innovate footwear. It's a brand that we held for a very long time. And then slowly but surely I've grown in the company, which is really great. It's great to see it grow. It's great to be part of that growth. And currently I'm National Sales Manager, so I manage a small team of sales guys. I'm managing events for Rebel, so we run a large amount of CrossFit events, and we support them with equipment. And the big one that we took on last year was the Rebel Renegade Games, which is the CrossFit Africa semi-final. And we currently run that in conjunction with a couple other directors, Tian and Leo, and then myself and Gavin fall into that directorship, and we run that semi-final for CrossFit. So some exciting stuff.
Crazy,
I don't know if I'd call myself an athlete, but I like to train and try and stay fit and healthy.
You're what I call the everyday athlete. You get after it, you're busy chipping away. But you said my introduction started it off there. You literally painted the whole picture and more. So just to put it out there, to let the listeners, viewers know, everything in my gym is literally from Rebel. From like the early days, from the garage, had a few pieces of equipment, and then when I was setting up, I was speaking to you, I was speaking to the boys, Wes, Zia, actually another gent that was there, but he moved on, and pretty much created my studio, which is pretty cool. But as I said, I've been looking forward to speaking to you.
Yeah, I think it's a unique opportunity for us to speak to the guys we service. I mean, and a lot of people don't know this. Rebel was born out of a gym, basically. So Gavin, the founder and owner of Rebel Elite Fitness, started CrossFit with Donnie, and they started CrossFitting together, and they had found it on .com. One of Donnie's mates had come back from Afghanistan or somewhere in the east, and he'd been training with the US guys, and we're like, guys, we found this thing. You've got to try it. And that's really where Rebel Elite Fitness was born from. Was Donnie and Gavin opened the first affiliate in Africa, and that's now it's not a fully functional gym, but Gavin still owns the affiliate license. CrossFit REF, which is exciting. It just speaks to who we are and how we want to be part of the community. So we're born from the community. Gavin started bringing some gear in with some other shipments of stuff that he does. And then slowly but surely it grew into a business because everyone was opening gyms and asking for gear. So we really like to think of ourselves as coming from a place of service.
Yes.
We want to make sure we're supplying premium gear so that you can run your business and you can do what you do.
Could you just tell me, so obviously you've stated there, you've been there for the last 10 years, which is a decade. 10 years ago, I was in literally matric. It's actually my 10-year reunion now, which is quite crazy. So literally, like I said, skin deep, you've been around. The Rebel growth you've seen in the last 10 years, you've been there. So what I've seen in the last few years, functional fitness, gyms are starting to downscale post-COVID, or just smaller setups like my own, as opposed to the conventional commercial gym that a lot of people are used to. Obviously, more boxes have opened up. You've obviously seen 1 million boxes open up in the last 10 years. How have you seen the growth? Where have your main markets gone to? Where do you see like Rebel going in the last, since you've been there, and like where have you bridged into?
So I think, I mean, it's an interesting question, because I think I joined Rebel just after the real boom of CrossFit.
Okay.
So sort of 2010 to 2013, I joined in 2014. That boom was big, and we saw a ton of boxes open. And that's really what started Rebel on its trajectory and
Yes.
to where we are today. We're the dealer for Concept 2 in South Africa, which is a phenomenal product. Great warranties, great service. It's bulletproof. It is the product. So that's been a really good launch pad for us, because we're reaching in and meeting most gym owners, because almost every single CrossFit gym or every single gym needs Concept 2. It's just that reliable. So we've seen a really big growth in functional fitness in Africa and in South Africa. There are thousands and thousands of gyms doing what you're doing
Yes.
every day, and using functional fitness as that board, basically using CrossFit as the foundation. I think what CrossFit got really right is community.
Yes.
And that's what makes CrossFit work, is you're accountable.
Yeah.
I train, I own my own gym, I run my own gym.
Yes.
But I still train at CrossFit Josie, and I show up every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning, and we've got a crew that trains together.
All the
And if I'm
buddies.
not there, Gavin
Yeah.
asks, like, hey,
Bro,
where are you?
at? Yeah.
Why aren't you at session? You know? So those communities keep people accountable.
Yeah.
And I think it gave people, CrossFit gave people the option to see something else.
Yes.
And for guys like you to pivot on that.
Yes.
And go, well, I've got a background in sports science,
Yes.
and I'm going to use a little more science here, and I'm going to change it up a bit. And it's still affordable to put together a
Yes.
functional gym. And that's where we've really seen the growth, is we
Yeah.
do service the commercial gyms on the Concept 2 side,
Yes.
but our main aim for the last 10 years is to be the best supplier in Africa of
Yes.
functional gear. And that's in terms of quality, in terms of service, in terms of price point, and how we run things. So that's, I think, given the community opportunity to really grow. And we've seen a huge amount of growth in there. CrossFit, not so much. I think affiliation scares people
Yeah.
away quite a lot. So you've got a lot of guys who aren't affiliated, but are still using similar techniques to what CrossFit is, or functional fitness. I think that's key.
It's pretty, like, well, CrossFit, it's a bunch of fitness components thrown in together. It's functional training. It's, even though it's got that brand, at the end of the day, it's functional training. You're doing your movements, your accessories. So what's pretty cool, what you tapped on there, is that nearly every gym I've been in, so before I opened my own spots, obviously I was training in gyms. Looking for inspiration, I went to a few gyms. I asked a few gym owners, what did you do? Where did you go wrong? What would you do if you had to reopen your mistakes? Success leaves clues. So I was just going to as many gyms as I could. Still now, you'll see on my Instagram, I'm at Gold's Gym. I'll pop into a few CrossFit boxes now and then. And nearly every single gym I've been to, you see the C2. So obviously, it's come through Rebel. You see some form of Rebel equipment there. So it's cool to see that you're pretty much in nearly every single gym, so to say, obviously, even in the commercial gyms, well, with the C2, which is got a good footprint in South Africa. In the rest of Africa, how are you guys looking there? Would you?
Yeah, I mean, we do supply Concept 2 into Africa. We've done a couple of really cool gyms in Africa.
Yeah.
Wes brokered a deal last year in Tanzania, which was awesome.
Crazy.
Like the trick is always moving gear into Africa is really difficult. So the cost of transport can be really tricky. But we're definitely servicing Southern Africa. We've got a ton of gyms that buy from us in Namibia, Botswana. Zim's a bit tricky for transport to actually get stuff up there, but we do have a lot of gyms that buy from us and transport themselves.
Okay.
And then slowly but surely pushing into that Mozambique market, because those are sort of the easier neighboring countries to work with. But often we're sending Concept 2 gear up as high as sort of Kenya and that sort of thing.
Oh, crazy.
It does get a bit tricky when it's often like Morocco and the country's really up there at the top. Egypt, it's easier to just import it from Europe. It's a stone's throw rather than from us.
Yeah.
So we are growing into Africa, and we are seeing a surge of CrossFit and functional fitness into Africa, particularly CrossFit. A lot of missionary gyms opening, giving back to communities, which is really, really cool. So we're in such a unique spot because we've got opportunity to be part of all of these awesome gyms and be part of people getting fit and healthy. I mean, that's the passion. I came from a coaching background, and I think coaching's a position of service.
Yes.
And that's how I at least try and that's how we sell the Rebel brand. We're here to make your job easier, to make sure that when you show up every day, your gear's working, your gear's running, it's affordable, you can scale if you need to.
Yes.
That's kind of the key behind what we're doing and what we're here for. We're not just trying to sell everything and anything into the market. We back our product 110%, and we believe in what we're selling.
No, which is awesome. Like to add there, when I was buying the equipment, obviously coming through to the Rebel offices, it's down the road from my spot. So obviously you have the online setup where the guys, the rest of Africa are purchasing from, they know the equipment. But at your actual shop, you have your CrossFit Josie, which is at the back. You've got Concept Cardio, which is, back then it was right next door. It's probably like 2 stores away now. And you still got that spot. And what was pretty cool is it almost showcased every single thing. So it wasn't just you're looking at a squat rack. You almost had a showroom, or you basically had a showroom for your equipment. So offering that, and I remember actually going and saying, I like the color gray, like maybe I'll put it in my gym as well. I looked at Concept Cardio and I was like, I'm literally just going to copy and paste, because it was a cool model. Obviously, all the rigs on the wall, the fold away, a little bit more, the bars. So I really enjoyed that. Obviously, the education, if you go online, you'll see little models that have been set up to kind of show every piece of equipment. And going back to that durability or reliability with the equipment, I bought a squat rack a few years ago from some dude that just welded it together. Yeah. And I was squatting, and I actually had 150 kgs loaded. And as I was offloading, one of the J hooks that clips in snapped. I honestly thought that day I was done, and straight away I should have obviously stuck to Rebel from the get-go, but never doubted with that. So no, it stood the test of time. I've been here 2 years and it still looks brand new, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think it's a unique thing with functional gear is not very much of it is consumable. Yes. Obviously, your wall balls and your slam balls and that sort of thing. Dumbbells in big rugby high performance centers don't last as long as we'd like them to. But that's indicative of how you treat your gear and look after it. But we've seen now, we've got guys that are only buying plates now. They've been using Rebel gear for 11, 12 years.
Crazy.
So that's what's so great about functional gear is really low maintenance, and it's the same as Concept 2. It's low maintenance if you look after it and treat it well, then it's going to last you. Yeah. And that's the key, really. So
obviously you service the gyms, but on the other side, you spoke about it, you introduced it, the Rebel Renegade Games, which is the semi-final for CrossFit, the regional that happens here in Africa, South Africa. It was Joburg last year. Yes.
Yeah, we hosted it at Wits University last year. So that was, the semi-finals was originally fittest in Cape Town.
Okay.
and they hosted that event. They ran it for 2 years out of Stellenbosch. Really cool event, cool vibe. And we had obviously worked as the equipment supplier for that event, and we had sponsored it that way. And it had come to a point where the event really, it costs a lot of money to run an event on that scale. And we had been chatting and kind of chatting with Tian and Leo, and it was kind of the conversation was, well, where do we see this going?
Yes.
Why are you doing it? And like, do we want to make it work?
Yeah.
And it came down to like, they're really passionate about the event. It's a zero-sum game. No one's making any money, unfortunately. But for their passion and their desire to continue it, and us, we believe as Rebel Elite Fitness, this is really important for us. Like having a CrossFit semi-final in Africa and continuing to keep CrossFit going, functional fitness going, it needs a showcase. It needs an event like that. So it was really important for us to say, okay, cool, let's see how we can make this work. And one of the ways was to move it up from Cape Town, because the majority of the CrossFit boxes are based in Cape Town, and we thought we could pull more crowds.
Yes.
And that'd work a bit better. In terms of an equipment support point of view, it makes life a hell of a lot easier than lugging
Down the road,
gear like 1,200 Ks.
Yeah.
This year we're having it at the Emerald Resort and Casino, which is going to be awesome. So we've kind of upscaled the venue. It's going to be really cool. And the idea behind that event for us is really to create a community gathering.
Yes.
We want everyone who's keen on functional fitness, CrossFit, you want to see some fit people throwing down. That's what we're trying to create, is this event where people can come and watch. And this year we're gonna really push to try and have some stuff for the spectators, run some CrossFit classes, run some concept cardio classes. We're going to try get some seminars in there so you can come and learn a bit more about weightlifting or aerobic capacity, and really just add some value to the community. And I think it's really important for Africa to have something like that.
No, definitely. I was laughing there because obviously now listening to what value add you're busy putting in, but what a lot of people don't understand is you said you pretty much break even. Like what you spend to go down, you sometimes actually probably making a loss, like taking the equipment down, setting up the staff, X, Y, Z. And then I'll hear some people in the industry, just like fellow friends, this competition's so expensive, like how can they charge so much when I think it was like $850, $1,000 for some events, which, yeah, okay, for most people it is a bit pricey on the pocket, but there's a lot going in. Can you just explain more finer, going down to Cape Town, going to Joburg, how long it takes? It takes probably like a week to 10 days, the logistics behind it, everything coming together.
Yeah, and events are tricky.
Yes.
And they're so important for the community, but it's so hard for the guys organizing the events or trying to put them on.
Yes.
Because it really 9 times out of 10 is a zero-sum game.
Yes.
You got to get people there, and they're going to pay because they want to come and throw down. But what people misunderstand is there's a cost to have us there. We don't have budget to do events for free.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense, because if I run a event, XYZ Games, Rebel Elite Fitness come on as the headline sponsor, and we sponsor and do everything, and they run 3 events for the year, and it ends up costing us $1 million to do that. We have to make that money back somewhere.
Yeah.
So that'll obviously get pushed into like a marketing budget, and then we're going, well, hey Neil,
yes,
that concept 2 you're paying $25K for, now it's 28.
Yeah.
So we don't feel that's fair.
Yes.
We need to look at doing it the best we can. So we charge costs for an event, like what it'll cost to bring the gear down, staff costs, and we've got to build rigs, we've got to do all of that. But we don't charge for the gear.
Okay.
So for the bigger events, and we're pretty full up now.
Yes.
There's no space in the calendar for any more partner events on our side. But the way it works with them is we would say, okay, so you're having your event in Pretoria, we need an 18-wheeler to drive it there, drive it back. We need 15 staff members to build and pack, and we need 4 qualified staff members because they've got to have work at heights qualifications because they've got to build the rigs.
Yes.
And then we put playbooks together and we run the heats and make sure everything runs as smooth as possible. And that'll cost in the region of around 100 to 160,000, depending on how big your event is. And everyone goes like, "Oh, cool, well, that's it." But like you're forgetting that there's health and safety, and you have to you have to have event insurance, and you've got to have a jock certificate and XYZ. And all of a sudden you're going, "Hey, well, this was going to be a really cool event. I was going to charge people $500. I was going to have 1,000 people, and we were going to throw down."
Yes.
And now you're going, "Oh, well, I'm not going to make any money. I'm going to break even." And I think it's indicative of what's come out of the CrossFit community.
Yes.
Is people are just so passionate that they still want to do it. And they'll come back again next year and go like, "Hey, well, it didn't work out. Maybe we'll work out this year. We're going to push."
Yeah.
And it's creating those communities within communities.
Yes.
But I think that everyone needs to know that it's really hard.
No,
the guys aren't asking for 1,250 for an entry because they're driving Ferraris and Porsches. It's like they're breaking even and probably not making very much, if anything, at all. So it really is. If guys are running events, it's for the love of it, and it's for the love of the community, and because they want to put on a showcase, and they want events are so important because we need our members and we need the people that train in our gyms to be able to showcase their fitness. And that's key.
Because if you're just training, it's almost pretty much everyone's goal driven, be it aesthetics, be it health, be it psychological events. Personally, I enjoy participating in a multitude of events. I don't currently compete in a CrossFit event. Not to say that I don't train in a CrossFit type style like we spoke about earlier with the functional training. I really enjoy the idea of, at Emerald, having multiple booths with the education, the seminars, because that almost pulls a whole different crowd. So I heard that now, and I'm thinking, a course or hearing somebody influential in the game show their technique, show what are their ideologies around training from a scientific. So that's quite a cool setup and approach you're going, where it's catering for the spectators largely. It's allowing the individuals to showcase their ability, which is quite a cool approach, I would say.
Yeah, I think it's something interesting that I saw last year. I was lucky enough to travel to Europe and volunteer at the European semi-final in Berlin.
Oh, nice.
I worked on the equipment crew there, and it was a very interesting take on the event. It was almost like there was a community gathering, and people were there and doing seminars, and there was so much stuff going on. And the CrossFit semi-final was a means to an end. We know we have to have a CrossFit semi-final. We know how important it is. We need to get a team and 2 individuals. Currently, that's our allocation. And hopefully in years to come, we'll get more people doing the Open and more people signing up for the CrossFit Open, and that'll boost how many athletes we get to send overseas. And it's so important that we have that semi-final so that we can get people into the games. And eventually we've seen it in a multitude of sports.
Yes.
And like Drickus most recently, like South Africa has athletes.
Yes.
So, we've got to show, as South Africans, we want to showcase that. So I have no doubts in my mind that in the not so distant future, we'll be the fittest man or fittest woman on earth will be a South African held title as well. Why not?
I completely agree with that. So obviously on my first episode, I had Alex Limburg. He's the Olympic cyclist. He was basically training out of a garage just before the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Just with the squat rack, the barbell, weights, it showed us you don't actually need a lot to get done, which taps on the other part. You own your own row fit, where a coach, you strength condition for rowers specifically, not specifically, but majority, and then obviously other athletes. It's a similar type setup to mine, not as big, not like your big CrossFit box. Walk me through your essentials when you're looking at setting it up. Obviously the row erg. What essentials did you look at when you were setting up your gym?
Yeah, so I think I set Rofit up like 9 years ago.
Crazy.
I think I opened that gym, and the reason I opened it was I was really missing the coaching element of my life.
Yes.
If you can imagine, from the time I was still in school, I was already coaching, and then woke up every day and coached athletes for 14
Full-time.
14 years. That's what I did, like all day, every day. My goal was to make athletes better, and then moved to Rebel, which was a completely different environment. We were about servicing clients and
Yes.
and selling gear, and I missed that coaching element. So I had to do something. I convinced my wife that it was like a really good idea
Smart thing to
to
do.
let me
to set up.
to let me have a single garage. Like, we're gonna now use the garage, and it's gonna be my gym.
Yes.
I think I maxed my credit card out.
Nice.
I think I spent 30,000 rand. There were some old Rebel bars in like a storage room that I spoke to Gavin. I was like, please, Gav,
Bro,
like,
please,
I
yeah.
really need some bars. So he like gave me a deal on some barbells and some old bumpers. The only thing I've changed from that is the bars. I haven't changed any of my
Everything
bumpers.
else is
Everything's still the same. And I opened with a couple of bars, some bumpers, some kettlebells, one plyo box, and a rowing machine. And
Pretty much like my gym now.
yeah, and that was it. I mean, I don't have money for a squat stand, which was like, I love an EMOM.
So would guys just literally clean it up into a squat?
Yeah. But if we were doing a 10-minute back squat EMOM, which is one of my favorites, you just have to hold the
Brutal,
bar
yeah,
on your
just-
back. It was like, you just got to hold it there.
Yeah, well,
And
10
the
minutes.
Kids were like,
bro,
but sir, like, it's so
What?
heavy. I'm like, oh, you just hold it.
you'll get stronger.
Like, we don't have a squat stand. Just hold it. Just hold the bar. And it's slowly grown from there. It worked really well. I didn't understand how many kids wanted outside coaching from that rowing side of things. And we developed a really like cool community where you'll kind of walk into my gym, and if you walk in as a youngster, I've got some guys who are 13, so they're just starting out. And then they'll spend their journey with me, and we go sort of, I'll see them under 13, under 14, under 15, so that first 3 winters. And then in under 16, we like the goal in that under 15 winter is to make you good enough so that you make Sasru squad, and that you're not with me in winter, you're touring overseas, which is really cool to see them do that. And then they'll come back to me for like sort of their first year open, and then the goal is to like make sure you're good enough that you're going to world champs the next year. So it's quite a cool little environment, and it grew pretty big. I mean, at one stage I had sort of 70 odd kids training out of the gym in the evenings. And now I moved and downsized. Double garage. I've got 2 fold-away rigs, same as you. 4 barbells, 2 rowing machines, 2 skis, a bike erg, like some kettlebells,
And it
a couple
works.
plyo boxes, and it works. I mean, I also believe wholeheartedly in the science.
Yes.
And when we figure out what works, we know what works.
Yes.
The winter program's the winter program.
Yeah.
At least the first 12 weeks of it, we run the same program, and then we test and see where the weaknesses are, and I'll adjust
Yes.
the program accordingly. But it's simple. It doesn't need to be hard. But what I find is we've got to create an environment and a community, and we've got to get people together to train and build that love of training. So that same thing that I've stolen it from CrossFitters to build a community and build
Yes.
a culture, and we've managed to do that in a small garage with 6 kids in a class who race against each other, and that's like, I find that so amazing.
Healthy.
They're going to train this whole winter together, and then
Train with their competitor.
Yeah.
See where the
And then-
weaknesses are.
yeah.
Basically,
in October you're going to line up in a boat,
look over.
and you're going to look
say,
over, and that's going to be your mate you trained with the whole winter. And it's so cool because we learn things, and we develop camaraderies.
Yes.
And some kid who trained at St. Dunstan's College, which is a really, really small rowing school, has like some skill, or he's figured something out that a kid from Penny's who's training at the best rowing school in the country
Yes.
doesn't know. Or you've got a kid from JP who's at a government school and everything operates completely different to the private schools,
Yes.
is learning something from the private school guys. And the private school guys are learning that that JP dogfight mentality
Yes.
because they don't have anything and they don't have boats. So it's like, it creates this really cool melting pot of people. And yeah, I love it. It's
crazy because if I knew Rewind when I was 13, I actually went on a rowing camp and I was like the smallest dude there. And they looked at me, they didn't even say jump on the erg, they're like, you cocks. And I was like, okay, well, that's my destiny, which actually I think almost got me into training because I was like, I can't be this small for the rest of my life. Let me just move weight. Quite funny what you said a little bit with the EMOM and just resting the bar.
yeah.
We were speaking the one day in the shop and Zio was just shaking his head. You were saying, just squat. And just like, bro, I've been doing that like for the last 8 weeks, just squatting, which
Yeah, I mean, I really think training's not as hard as people make it out to be. It's pretty simple, and if you can get the formula right, and push, and it's all a mentality thing. It's like there are many ways to skin a cat.
Yes.
So there are many ways to make athletes fast, and a lot of people, for a lot of my time coaching rowing, like I was always told I'm too hard.
Yes.
You know, you push too hard, you ask for too much, and I don't believe I did, and I still ask for the same amount. If
Yes.
you want to be an athlete, we've got to get buy-in from athletes. That's the number one thing anywhere.
Everywhere.
When someone walks through the door into your gym, there has to be buy-in.
Completely.
If someone joins your team at Rebel, if someone joins the team or wants to be part of that team, there's got to be buy-in.
Completely.
We've got to be driving towards a common goal, and in a team environment, that's what I really like, is that team environment. If we're driving towards a common goal, we all want it, so we're all prepared to sacrifice and do things that we probably wouldn't ordinarily do to get there, and that's the key. You know, we've got to move together, and we've got to move forward, and we've got to be prepared to get really uncomfortable if we want things to work out for us.
If you want things, what you said there, the amount of volume, and from a training point of view, I completely agree. Everyone that walks through my door, and I'm sure you see walks through your door, you got your general population, your everyday athletes that are going, chipping away for whatever reason they're doing it for, as I said, aesthetics or just getting stronger. And then you got your athletes. And athletes are completely different individuals. The way they think, the way they train, they need to be pushed to a point where they've seen their limits. They've seen how far can they go. There's been points where one of my athletes is saying, Neil, I can't do this. And I'm like, just try, go. At the end of the session, I got it done. Which, that's what a coach is there for. It's there to push you, to take you to that point. And like I say, the way they think, the way they do things, volume works. We've seen it with every training methodology. You want to get better. One of the top coaches in Oz, he was like, you want to get better at squats? Squats. You want to get better at deadlifts? Deadlift.
Yeah.
And just stick to the basics.
It's the rowing, like in the rowing world, it's like miles make men, like miles make champions.
I enjoy that one.
Like, it is what it is. Like, there's
Yes.
no, you know, if Hamish Bond, they rowed a pair that was probably one of the best boats in the world for a hell of a long time. I don't want to spit numbers because my stats aren't great, but they are probably the best. Those guys were doing like 40 Ks a day on the water, including gym and all of that sort of, you know, like they just did the volume. They did what was needed to be the best. And I'm not saying everyone has to do that, but
Yes.
but for me, that tends to work. As long as we can keep pushing you and we can keep driving you as an athlete, like I always feel if you're trying to progress, you need to be on that line, like, of injury.
Yes.
And like a lot of people disagree with that. We should all feel healthy and comfortable and happy in our bodies. But if you're trying to make gains, and the gains are so small, there's so, like, the difference between making it to the CrossFit Games and not. For the women last year, it was one workout. So it like comes down to, and they were neck and neck for 90% of that workout.
Yes.
So it comes down to a couple of reps, like at the end of the work. How much can you do a toes to bar 0.2 of a second faster than someone else?
Your competitor.
And that's the key is so if we're not prepared to get uncomfortable, then we're not going to get that. And that's why I like working with athletes, because I feel there's always a goal to drive to. There's always something they want. So then it's simple. If you want this, you have to do.
You have to do it. I was working in honors year, busy fitting cyclists, some top cyclists on bikes. Obviously, we had the aerodynamics. It was known as BioRacer, basically electrodes. And the guy was on the bike, and my boss at the time, I said, "Are you comfortable?" And he said, "Neil, there's a difference between comfort and speed. You're not going to be comfortable sitting in that position that makes you the quickest. You literally have to bite down, push, go forward." And as you said, tapping on, I like training athletes, personally as well. Athletes will come in here, refer to me as boss, what's on the menu today? You just go into the trenches, and they're like, "Okay, cool, that's what we got to do. Let's do it, get it done." And funny thing, and I'm sure you've got this from a lot of athletes, one of the jits guys I train, he fell sick. He's going to ADCC now in the next 3 weeks, which is like the Olympics for jiu-jitsu. And he's missed 2 days of training, and it's week 6. And his message was, "Neil, I feel like I've lost 8 years of fitness by missing those 2 days." He's in the gutter, man down, flu, and he's like, "Please, can I train? Please, can I train?" And I'm like, "No, you are literally going to have a heart attack." So that athlete, the mindset's completely different, as we said. They're coming in and they just...
Everyone's like looking for more. Like, I caught someone the other day, I was walking, so like, you've been to Rebel, but for everyone else, like, the Rebel Elite Fitness warehouse is right next to CrossFit Josie. And I help out with a couple of the CrossFit Josie athletes that are trying to get to the semi-final. And I walked past to go to the warehouse to collect some stuff. And I looked in, and one of the athletes is there, like, hammering away. I said to Dylan, I'm like, "But Dyl, why is she doing another session?" He's like, "No, I don't know. She did this. She's done what's on the program for today." Yeah, but she missed that thing like a few weeks back. So now she's trying to catch it up. And I think it's the funniest thing, because you can't, like, I always believe, like, once it's gone, it's gone. You can't catch up sessions.
It's done.
Like, we're loading you, or if we're loading you enough, you can't catch up a session, because then you're going to overload and overtrain. But an athlete will always try to catch a session up.
No,
like, I need to do this, because, like, it's going to make the difference, surely. Like,
and it's funny to see, like I say, that general population clients. There's a guy that trains, and we did a workout, very popular CrossFit, 21-15-9 or 9-15-21, either way you put it. And we did the pyramid where it goes 21-15-9, 15-21. And he got to 15 and he said, "Neil, I can't do this." And it was in this back end of the workout. And I said, "Bro, you've got 21 reps. You've got through this whole monster. Just do it." "No, I can't." Not. Head down, walked out. He said he didn't sleep that night. All he could think about was 21. And for the next like 3-4 weeks, he was, "Bro, please, can you just program a 21-15-9 just so I can chip away?" Which, it's hilarious. It's a mindset.
It is a mindset. And I think that's what the gym brings to that, particularly like functional training, is that, like, you build resilience. Like, we can do things because we are functionally fit, and that's key. That's why I train. I want to be able to do stuff. I remember the other day I said, "Hey, I need to run Soweto Marathon. I've got to qualify for 2 Oceans. Will you run with me?"
Yes.
Sure. Like, that's what I want to be able to do. But it's that resilience that we build in the CrossFit boxes, in the functional fitness gyms, from that style of workout, and getting uncomfortable, and being uncomfortable allows us to face a hell of a lot of challenges in life, at work, in your relationships. Like, so fitness really is that all-encompassing training modality that's going to help you be a better human.
Which is what you just said, that's happening on a really big name in the fitness industry at the moment, Ollie Marchon. He's got his gyms in the UK. his whole approach, what I really latched onto a few years ago when he put it out, that ready for anything. So you're going into the gym, you're ready to hit your workouts. You leave in the gym, you're ready to hit your day. It's just training to be ready for anything. In your Instagram, skiing, running, as I said in the intro, it's being ready to be able to attack any task at hand, which that's what I love about the functional setup.
Yeah, I think it's something that I think a lot of people forget these days is that's what CrossFit is based on.
Yes.
So it's like general preparedness, like being able to do anything, and that is key. And I think a lot of people get mixed up with CrossFit the sport,
yes,
and CrossFit for lifestyle and fitness and health, because they're two very, very different things. If you're a CrossFit athlete training to go to the CrossFit Games, you are probably more than likely following a more periodized training program, similar to what we studied
yes,
at university in our sports science degrees. And that's how you are basing your programming and the things you've done.
yes,
So back to a more sports-specific training program, instead of what we're trying to get done in our gyms daily. I've got a adults class that I coach twice a week, and that's what it is. It's general preparedness. I want you to be fit enough to play with your kids, walk your granddaughter. You know, that's what we're looking for, and that's really what CrossFit is doing, is building those sort of modalities and that
yes,
fitness. It's the same thing as our concept cardio. Like, we're trying to make you fit,
yes,
and we're using science, and we're hitting all of the different fitness modalities, but we're putting it into a package that's 45 minutes. It's quick, it's easy. You're using the Concept 2 machines, so they're familiar, and you're getting real bang for your buck.
yes,
And I think that's what, often when people look at CrossFit or functional fitness, you're looking at these guys on Instagram that are like these beasts. Like, they're not doing what we're doing.
Well,
I train, like,
yes,
I do 3 CrossFit sessions a week. I do 2 concept cardio sessions a week. I try and hit a golf ball at least once a week. And I run every other week. I'll do a 15 or 20K run. Like, it's real simple,
yes,
but it's CrossFit that allows me to do that.
to hit those various,
Like, because of the functional fitness, the different things we're doing every day. Like, this morning was box jumps, running, and rope climbs. Like, it's completely different from what I did on Monday or 2 weeks ago.
yeah,
So and that's really where the fitness game is how can we program so that everyone can live a healthy life. My dad's not interested in, like, going to the CrossFit Games or competing in the Open, but, like, he might want to be able to walk 18 holes on the golf course without getting tired. You know, it's
Yes,
those little
it's
things, like,
what
fitness is for everyone,
it is.
and it's not just for the guy who's trying to win the CrossFit Games. It's for everyone.
Literally for everyone. Another thing I wanted to tap on is we got something coming to SA. It's just been announced. Hyrox. What are your views, your ideas, looking at the race? It's exploding in Europe. It's exploding all over the world. What are your thoughts behind Hyrox, the whole race, the event?
Hey, I'm excited. Like, I really, like, the Hyrox kind of lends itself to me as well, because
Yes.
I can run a little bit, so that's pretty cool. But I think from a Rebel Elite Fitness Concept 2 side, like, we stoked. I think we started Concept Cardio, and the main drive behind that was to teach people that the Concept 2 machines aren't just a warm-up tool, you know, like Virgin Active, go sit on them for 5 minutes and off they go. It's a training tool. It's going to make you fitter and better. And I think Hyrox has really tapped into that functional fitness. It's pulled everything together, and it's exposing functional fitness to a different part of the community, to the guys who are running every day. And I think it can really work in South Africa. I think it fits our people. It fits what we do, and I think it's gonna explode. And I think it's a lot less intimidating than CrossFit, because yes, there are a number of functional movements you need to do, but they're not too skilled or too technical. So I think it'll bring. I'm hoping what it's going to do is bring a lot of those guys who are running and training for comrades and doing all of that stuff, give them an outlet for some other sort of fitness to explore.
Yes.
With their running skill and with their speed, because I mean it's 8Ks of running, so it's basically a running race.
It's
so
50%.
I think that's going to be interesting as well, because I don't think
Yes.
a lot of CrossFitters like to run. So it'll be an interesting mix of who does it.
Yes.
But I think it's really exciting. We're in talks now with Concept 2 HQ and the guys from Hyrox to see what their plans are. But so far it looks like they've announced three dates: Durban, Cape Town, and Johannesburg. So yeah, I hope they're coming, and I hope they're coming in full force, because I think Africa needs something like that.
What I love about the whole Hyrox setup, and obviously coming to South Africa now, is I was prepping, or still am, to go over to Holland. In Rotterdam there's one, and then over to Cologne in Germany, where they're having that whole fitness expo on the same weekend. But Cape Town's a holiday destination, Durban, Joburg, foreigners love coming. But me thinking going overseas, there's going to be a lot of people that could actually look and say, look, it's a good time of year, Hyrox in South Africa. Let's make a travel sport and travel holiday out of it, and pull in some overseas visitors as well, which is pretty cool. A lot of Hyrox, well, there's 2 gyms I've just seen now that are Hyrox affiliates. And as you said, you got your CrossFit community where they dabble with a lot of fitness events. You'll see the regulars just taking part, sometimes running the races as well. So it's cool to see how a whole new catchment area, so to say, entry barrier, are being pulled in, as well as the CrossFit community, and just expanding that functional fitness.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for the functional fitness gyms and
Yes.
the CrossFit boxes in South Africa to expand their memberships and expand what they're offering. It also gives people an opportunity to express their fitness in, I think, a less threatening way.
Completely.
Like I do the Open every year. Like, I love it, and I like to run in the mountains every now and again. But like, I'm not going to do an LMS, and I'm not going to do a Pretoria Throwdown. I'm not built for that stuff, and it's intimidating.
It is.
So we want to try, and I think Hyrox kind of pulls a lot of people who are going, well, that's super hectic.
Yes.
Like, don't want to do that. But hey, I'm prepared to run 8Ks and push a sled and pull a sled and do some warbles. Hey, and there's some I don't have to do it by myself. I can do it with a mate. You know, so I think Hyrox is going to be great. I think it's going to be just as big as it is in Europe. And I think we're going to have, at the same time, like, we're going to have a lot of really good athletes who are going to perform on that Hyrox stage, which is exciting for South Africa.
It's awesome. But I'd just like to thank you, Tommo. I know you have to get back to graft, building those events, getting ready, selling equipment to a million gyms. But thank you for coming onto the podcast. Really appreciate it. Like I said in the get-go, probably going to be more to follow. Can tap into the Hyrox when you have a better understanding of all the logistics, because I'd love to hear that. And then thank you. Really appreciate it.
Sweet, Neil. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
It was great chatting to you. Always is. And we'll see you again soon.
Legend.
Lekker.
Sweet, bro.
Sweet.